welcome to a very special 10th edition of the Pondwater Dave Show. As they said, Dave, back in Varsity Blues, 10! And this is number 10 for us. My name is Justin Davis, the host of the Pondwater Dave Show, and we couldn't do it with the man that the show is named after, the man who counted Ric Flair's last match, the man who just, I think, said that he is a eight. Let's see, how was it? You're a 5 somewhere.
I'm a 5 in the gym.
Oh, and
but I'm a solid 8 at Walmart.
I agree with that. A 5 in the gym and an 8 at Walmart. How about a 10 everywhere she goes? The first lady of the Arn Anderson fan club, Miss Amy Vaughn. How are you doing today?
Wonderful, as always. So glad to be here with you all tonight. We got a lot to talk about.
We have a lot to talk about, and luckily we have an extra person to talk about it with us, and that is from the WrestleBuddy.com. You'll catch some of his articles on there. Mr. Tyler Peters, welcome to the Pondwater Dave Show. It's great to have you on here with us.
Hey, thank you. It's an honor, and I can't wait to talk about a lot of this WWE news and everything else. So what a privilege. Thank you all once again.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you for being here, Tyler.
Yes,
no
we're so
problem.
glad to have you.
Yeah, so let's go ahead and talk about it. Tyler is with us because he's been feverishly writing article after article over there at WrestleBuddy about some, I guess there's some news going on about some guy that used to run WWE and he wants to do it again. And his name is Vincent Kennedy McMahon. Of course, the news this week coming out that he has now maneuvered his way back into the head of the board once again in the shareholders office there in WWE, and he's removed a few people, right, Tyler, from the board and put in some Vince people there. So tell us what's been going on.
Yeah, Vince has already removed a couple of the board members. I mean, he's been renamed executive chairman. Stephanie McMahon has resigned. We thought WWE was going to have Saudi Mania. I mean, I'm teasing because Saudi Arabia, that deal, that I don't think we want that. Nick Khan's meeting with Disney, that came out and everything, maybe a possible deal with ESPN. It's so crazy. It's hard to even break it down because it seems like there's story after story now.
Yeah, it seems now like Vince is 2 or 3 every day right now coming out.
He's getting sued by somebody that I guess used to be a shareholder. There's just so much to break down. So it's really a wild time. Who would have thought Vince McMahon would come back after the scandal? But I guess we shouldn't be surprised. He seems to survive it. Think about the steroid trial. I mean, the man seems to be bulletproof, whether it's right or wrong. And you have to, in some odd way, admire it. But he's proven us all wrong. He's going to come back. And I can't blame him because here's the thing that was brought to light. He wants to be the guy responsible for making the deal. So really, that's actually very smart on his behalf.
Well, we'll go ahead before we move on. Dave and Amy, what are your thoughts on this whole conundrum or this whole new development going on over at WWE?
Go ahead, Amy.
Well, I was just going to say, I work, with children, and so I don't have a business background. I don't understand a lot of what's going on. I don't understand the purpose of Stephanie having to resign. Like, what exactly does that mean? And, how could he come in and just let go, move out some board members and add new board members? Like I said, I don't really have a business background, so I don't really know what is all going on. I think, like Tyler said, it definitely Vince McMahon wants to be the one to make the deal. And, it makes you wonder, like, what is the WWE going to look like after a sale? I mean, depending on if they go to Disney or if they go to, whoever comes in and ends up buying it, it makes you wonder, like, what is the WWE going to look like? It was almost like with all, literally 2 weeks ago, we talked about it, of just, we made predictions. And we were doing really good with our predictions, but we all did not do well on, will Vince McMahon be back in 2023? He's not in a creative role, but I think this makes more news. and way more meaningful than if he had come back in creative. And I think that, you think about all the people that, Triple H has put in place after they got let go. You just kind of wonder, like, what in the world is going on? It's a nice little days of our lives that we get to watch. They say wrestling is a soap opera anyway. So we're just adding, this is just Marlena being possessed by the devil. If you remember Days of Our Lives back in the
Yeah.
day.
Like sand through an hourglass, so are the 28 lives of Vince McMahon.
It's funny you say that Marlena being possessed by the devil, because I was talking about we were talking about all the silliness that you put up with over the years and in wrestling, and I was like, my Meemaw used to watch One Life to Live, and even the years when they all went up in the spaceship, they did the spaceship. I just remember that was the silliest thing in the world, but she powered through. And I mean, that's just, but yeah, the Marlena being possessed more than once.
Yeah. Yes.
They even went to the well. They'd go back to the well one too many times for Marlena. Oh, I just gave up. I just told on myself from watching soap operas.
Hey, I used to myself, so I'm with you. I used to be hooked on Guiding Light, so it's a confession.
I was an All My Children guy when I grew up. I mean, when I was a kid, my sisters watched All My Children, and I wanted to grow up and be just like Tad.
My mom used to tape Young and the Restless while she was at work, and then I'd have to watch it when she got home. We
Tad
just put
was a
in
man whore.
we just put in a big screen TV in the school cafeteria I work at, and the kids are now watching The Price is Right, and it just puts me back at my grandma's house in the summer. Like, yep, first we got Price is Right, then the news, then Young and the Restless. Like, I know what's coming next.
Now you just need them all to snap some beans, right? You'll be right there.
That's
You'll be
right.
right there with Grandma.
I did that too. So Dave, what are you thinking about this whole thing with Vince? You got sidetracked on soap operas.
Well, Vince coming back doesn't surprise me at all. If he comes back and he keeps his hands out of creative, that would surprise me. And it's my only concern, because the product is so good right now that I really don't want, just he can come back and lead and do what he says he's going to do, just to facilitate the sale, then fine. But it's when he gets back into creative, you'll know he got back in creative, because Vince's creative is just, it's more of the same. I mean, we're gonna put Vicky on the spaceship again when Vince comes back.
Marlena's getting possessed.
And I may not know anything. Maybe Vince has been pulling the strings all along. And if Vince has been pulling the strings lately, and he keeps doing what he's doing, then, more power to him. I find it interesting that as Vince comes in, Stephanie leaves. I think that's telling. When the Saudi deal was a lock, maybe that was, we're going to sell to Saudi, so we need to get, maybe the woman in charge needs to come out to facilitate this. But she was on a leave of absence and came back when her daddy was stepping down. So maybe it is exactly like she says it is, but she didn't take a leave of absence this time. She resigned.
She quit. Yeah.
So maybe there's some turmoil in the family, but she's tired of her daddy's crap. Maybe she's embarrassed.
Yeah.
Because she's got access to the files and she can see what her daddy was spending his money on.
There may be more to the story, I'm sure there is, that all of us know or anyone knows about the personal revealings of the McMahon family and how the kids felt about the stories that came out about their dad and what he's done to their mother over these years. And so there may be all kinds of feelings that none of us have any knowledge about, in the background of this story. But moving on, Tyler, of course, Tyler Peters from Wrestle Buddy. I did want to ask you, you did recently write a story about the top 5 possible buyers for the WWE. I know so far we've heard a lot about Saudi Arabia. We've heard possible Disney, possible Peacock, Comcast type situation. So what do you got over there on your top 5 buyers?
I've also got Amazon. I think they could be a sleeper. I know people kind of maybe laugh at that, but if you think about how much money and no one, here's the key component for me, the digital streaming. And it's just like Disney with all of them. That's a characteristic that you look at Peacock now. I think, it makes sense for Fox, NBC as well. I've also heard Netflix. There's been several others too, not just Saudi Arabia. To me, Saudi does not make a lot of sense other than just you're getting a lot of money. Vince made the deal back, I think, in 2018, Crown Jewels, and I get that. But, to get the bang for your buck, it's going to come from a Disney and Amazon, a Fox or NBC, because I go back to the history. I think Saturday night's main event. I mean, think about Dick Ebersol and Vince McMahon. And I know Ebersol's not involved, but I like looking at chronologically the stories going back to how Dick Ebersol produced that Saturday night's main event, and USA Network ended up being owned by Universal. So there's a lot of parallels that I could see, and Fox with SmackDown, and definitely Disney, ESPN. Think about it. AWA is not the same or the powerhouse, especially then, as WWE is now, but they were on ESPN Classic. I could see WWE being more on the mainstream ESPN, and think about the crossover appeal. I kind of looked at it from that point of view. They could co-brand with a lot of the different attributes that these companies have. So I try to look at it from a business sense. I'm with Amy. I don't have any business sense, so it's kind of funny for me to even say that, but we all are speculating. I mean, it's interesting. It's like a soap opera. It's like, this is another chapter to the Vince McMahon story and overall movie. I mean, think about it. There's a lot to base on here, and it's just, that's what a lot of people are speculating about. I mean, I'd love to get your guys' perspective as well. I mean, I'm just guessing like everybody else. I'm just trying to put an opinion. I put on the Disney piece, what if we get a Bray Wyatt's Haunted Mansion? If WWE co-brands, maybe we get that. I was trying to be comical, but yet serious. And because people were joking, are we going to see The Undertaker? Are they going to have rides named after him? I mean, who knows?
You're missing the obvious.
What?
You see, I'm trying to see if I had. Let me show you.
I am missing. I'm catching on now. I get where you're going.
I think that's also.
This is going to be over the entrance. This is going to be over the entrance of Space Mountain.
There we go.
Reimagine Space Mountain.
Yeah, you got to. I mean, how could I forget about the Nature Boy?
I also think that you would have the WWE actual physical Hall of Fame at Disneyland or around there if that
Charlotte will be a Disney princess.
Yeah, there we go.
I'm with you. I agree with Ref Dave. I have to bow down to the Queen. I try to be unbiased, but I have to show her respect.
Now let me ask you this. A question to you, Tyler, if you think, let's say Saudi Arabia buys it, do you think that would ultimately really hurt WWE's American business in the long run and almost turn it into a different type of product and company altogether?
I don't know that it's going to hurt their business. It will hurt the image because you have a lot of what the government does over there. And Sami Zayn, if that happens, bye-bye to one of the more popular segments on SmackDown and characters in Sami Zayn, because with his heritage, I think he's Syrian. I mean, he's been very opposed, and many wrestlers, a lot of them won't even travel when they have the Crown Jewel events.
If I were a wrestler, I would be one of those people as well.
I would too. I don't know that I would feel comfortable.
Well, everybody's like, the women's division would go away. And no, y'all got to think about this. Saudi Arabia pays them on the low end $50 million to come over there and do an event that they don't get their money back on because the prince invites the kingdom to come to the events. That they're packed because the tickets are free. They like the product. The women are a part of the product, and the women have become a bigger part of the product on their shows.
That's true.
I mean, WWE has made a cultural advancements in Saudi Arabia as far as women go, because now not only are you having multiple women's matches on the shows, women referees. I mean, So Saudi Arabia doesn't hate the product. They love the product so much that they failed to find out that, I mean, I heard they wanted Yokozuna on a show. They didn't realize he was dead.
Mm.
But what I'm saying is they don't pay all that money to be entertained by WWE, to buy it and then change it to what they think it should be. Because if they wanted a wrestling program, I mean, look at the Live Golf Tour. They've changed golf to make it, they've changed the rules a little bit to try to make, shorter, more competitive tournaments. They're paying the players more money. If they get into this, it's going to be like funding the Live Golf tournament. But Saudi's going to be the winner in this deal. And this is what I believe, I don't know anything. If Saudi buys it, Vince is still running it.
Well, that's what I was getting ready to bring up. I was going to ask Tyler that same type of question. I also have heard rumors that Vince is kind of using the Saudi capital as a way of privatizing the company on his own and basically taking it back over, probably with a deal with the Saudis that once he dies, it goes into their name.
Yeah, I could see Vince being the minority owner if it went private.
Yeah, me as well.
I mean, private.
Yeah, I was just going to add that I think
not going to stay
it
as
may
an
not be
hourly
bad
employee.
for him to go private. Yeah,
But he's definitely would still be in the driver's seat. This is what I believe. I think that's the Saudi option, and it would have to be private because I don't know if I don't think Saudi Arabia is real popular on the New York Stock Exchange.
You
So
know
what
why?
do you-
You know why he's wanting to go private. They've only heard half the stories.
So what do you think about if Nick Khan is talking to Disney, do you think that Nick Khan is on the opposite side of Vince McMahon on the board? Because, I mean, like, if
No. And I've known this for a long time, but it was revealed this week. Our good friend Conrad Thompson talked about it. And so on the air. So now it's out there. So I don't have a problem repeating it. Nick Khan was hired to sell the company.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, he was there to sell the
yeah,
company.
that's a good point.
And
so do you think he's just kind of
that's why he went there, and he'll become a very, very wealthy man on a sell.
right?
So he's not the anti-Vince. He's there for a reason. He wants to sell it.
Yes, I didn't mean anti-Vince, but so do you think he's going to Disney saying, hey, we have this,
Yeah.
like kind of,
Amy's just
without a
saying, is he
doubt,
lining
just
up on
kinda
a different, is he wanting to sell to someone else other than Vince, I guess.
Well,
is-
and I believe he was a talent agent before he went to WWE. So getting the best deal.
he's
But
just trying
this
to.
is ramped up, and it was serious because it was kind of low key. They were going to sell it.
Mm-hmm,
I mean, that was the kind of like rumors. The rumors were,
mm-hmm.
but
Correct.
now it's out there for sale. I mean, they got the sign on the yard. They
No
got their
kidding.
Zillow. They got their Zillow link. I mean, you go up there.
They got everything. Yeah, really. They've done some marketing or whatever. Yeah, I think I agree, Dave. It was kind of like, I mean, we all kind of knew that, that it was going to sell or whatever, but it seems like all of a sudden it's like been brought basically
got a
last
crazy
week
one I'd
brought
like to
back
get-
into us.
Sorry, I didn't mean to talk over you. I'm
No,
sorry.
no. I was just saying that, you're right. I do think it's like all of a sudden with Vince McMahon coming back, and it's like been like, like you said, board members being let go and Stephanie resigned. Like we have been hit with a bunch like, oh, okay, this sale is happening. Like you said, ASAP. Like there's no longer like, oh, it's in the future. This is happening right now.
It's happening quick, and I think Nick Khan is also good at getting both sides on board with things. I think we, like Dave was saying, and what you're saying, Amy and Justin, the guy's a brilliant strategist in his own right. So why not say, hey, I'm going to go to Disney, but yet, we could still sell it to whoever else, whether that's Saudi Arabia or
Mhm.
Amazon or a Netflix or a Fox or NBC Universal, which we've already got a relationship with now and everything. So I think Nick Khan, man's good about maybe taking care of disputes, any issues between, Vince or Triple H. So I can also see that side to where he brings that kind of value to the
Well,
board.
what about Viacom?
Yeah, that's a good. Hey, that's another one. I mean, there's so
Viacom
many.
saved Bellator.
Yeah, it's hard to narrow it down to just 5. It's like, give me the 5 or top 10 list, and I'm like, it's a who's who. It's so tough.
And I don't know if anybody's mentioned Redbird, which is the Rock's. I mean, the financial arm of $7 Productions. I mean, Nick Khan and the Rock go back to Hawaii as kids. They grew up together. They have there was a picture that was leaked. I think they put it out there on purpose of Nick Khan, the Rock, and Nick Khan's sister having lunch. And then and at that point it was pointed out that they were in Hawaii together as kids. And Nick Khan's sister is a big part of Rock's production. I want to say she's showrunner for Young Rock. She's heavily involved in the Rock's business. What if they were putting a group together to buy? I mean, then have WWE, XFL.
Yeah.
I mean, the Rock's I mean, his cut. I think it's a long shot, but Nick Khan could also be maybe putting that together, much like Eric Bischoff did back in the day, to try to buy WCW when it was up there. True. Maybe he was there to sell it, but maybe owning it's not that bad of an option, being part of an owner there.
The only bad thing is that XFL has not done well in any in any iteration that it's been. So
it did well. It did well until COVID hit. It was on track. It came out of the gate strong. It came out of the gate strong, and COVID shut it down.
That's true.
I mean, I think they had the right idea this last time.
Yeah, it actually did better than remember when it was first launched, and JR, and I love JR, but he was doing the commentary, and it just did not do as well. And like you all were saying, this restart helped it, but COVID definitely altered the plans.
But that wasn't under The Rock, correct?
No. Vince had football people in place,
right?
I mean,
so we know that Rock bought it, but we don't know what Rock wants to do. Like, we don't know what his vision for XFL is.
The Rock has his teams, and he's hired coaches and general managers and all of that so far, but I don't know how much farther in the process they are.
I mean, he went and repaired the relationship with Bob Stoops. Bob Stoops is a coach.
Yeah.
I believe of the Dallas franchise.
Yeah.
So, I mean, so the Rock's an option. And here's a fun one that I was kicking around in my head today. Like, why the heck not? Tony Khan.
Well, I was going to bring that up. Then I decided to pass on it. I think
this is fantasy buying right here.
I don't think Vince would.
It is.
But I mean, why wouldn't he though? Because Tony Khan bought Ring of Honor because Tony Khan's a fan. He started AEW because Tony Khan's a fan. He's always wanted to work with WWE because he's a fan. So he already has AEW. Now he has the Ring of Honor library. What's to say that he didn't? I mean, I don't know. He could do it. I mean, he could do it. But just think, why not? And then he's got all that wrestling but it's not because it's a power grab for him or he's stroking his ego. It's like he's the ultimate wrestling memorabilia collector.
Right.
And he buys the biggest wrestling company in the world and has all of that under one umbrella.
Though, I think like Justin, I think Vince McMahon would probably take a lower price than to sell to the Khans. And I just think that I think it'd be interesting, but I don't
think so
Vince
either.
Yeah.
But
I don't see
where
I don't see him. Yeah.
And then, I mean, and ideally, I really don't want to see that, but I thought it was fun to bring it up.
Right. So, Dave, are you saying that you have withdrawn your request to purchase WWE?
They don't take shake and bake coupons.
Oh.
Yeah, now that's a crime. If you don't have shake and bake, yeah.
I was really excited.
Before we get
Dave
off
was going to do it.
before we get off this topic, I just wanted to get everyone's predictions on maybe just pick a company that maybe it's your hunch that's or a non-company. Maybe Vince is going to keep it. Just kind of tell me your predictions and what you think, and we'll start with Amy.
I'm going with Disney.
You think Disney will might have that Hall of Fame at Disneyland then, Amy's saying.
I do too. I think that they could
We have a run-in by Mickey Mouse who hits, Bray Wyatt with a chair and costing the title. That's what
right. We already had Bad Bunny, and that it's not really like Alice in Wonderland had a rabbit, right? So I mean,
Oh,
but I do. I think Disney. I think that could be a sleeper. I think that would be. I think maybe they are using Saudi Arabia as a way to get Disney to pay the money that they really want. That's just me.
Okay. I'm
With
gonna
no
go with
business background.
I'm
No,
gonna stick with where they're at and go Comcast, Peacock, NBC, whatever you want to call it. For no other reason than it just makes the most sense. It's kind of where their stuff is, where everyone I don't know. I could be 100% wrong. Pondwater, what you got?
you make a good point about Comcast, and they paid $5 billion for the rights. Kind of makes sense. Why don't we spend $10 billion and just buy the whole darn thing?
Mm-hmm.
I do feel that Disney, if I feel two ways. If a company's going to buy it, it's going to be Disney. And I feel strongly about it because Bob Eisner's back. And Disney went acquisition crazy under Bob Eisner, had great growth under Bob Eisner, and now he's back. Eisner, if I'm saying it right.
I think it's Bob Iger, isn't it?
It doesn't matter what his name is.
Let's just go with that because I couldn't say it either.
Yes,
I
it's
don't
Bob.
know.
It's Bob Iger. Bob Iger.
Bob
IGER. Yeah.
One of the Eisner. I'm getting that name from somewhere, but
There is. He used to be the previous.
But
wasn't he the previous CEO?
He did great things, and then he left, and now he's back. And
Yeah.
I could see him doing great things again. But if Vince wants to remain in control of it and take it private, then it's 100% going to be done with Saudi money. Because I could see that that would be a purchase and leave him a purchase that would leave him alone.
All right.
That's true.
I guess Tyler, what are you thinking over there?
I'm going to go with Fox. I just, it's kind of like NBC. I know that's kind of another sleeper in a way, but I think due to SmackDown, you've also got Fox Sports, and they've got a lot of other networks at their disposal. So, I could also see maybe them at least making a bid, whether they get it or not. Who knows? But yeah, I'm going with Fox.
I could see Fox Sports 1 maybe as the home of Raw or something like FS1 as the new home.
Yeah, me
Raw,
too.
Cool. And Dave, it was Michael Eisner.
Michael Eisner.
Michael Eisner, yeah.
Yeah, he was a CEO of Disney also. Michael Eisner.
But Bob is the one that was.
Yeah, Bob's the one who's back.
And Bob was the one that was, doing a lot of the acquisitions.
Yeah.
But you will get some. You may not get the name. I may not get the names right, but I know just enough to be dangerous. Just think though, with Fox though, the possibilities with Fox, you could have a more adult-oriented show on FX, FX 1, 2, 3, whatever. I mean, they got so many different FXs. FXXX or.
But I mean, that's really adult. No,
I mean, you could, triple X. You could have like your family friendly content, but you could actually take some and do your more attitude era, more adult oriented on one of those platforms that allow more of that. If Fox wanted to pursue that, I mean, I think that's me. I'm fantasy booking again.
No, I think
we could bring Mandy Rose back and put her on FXX.
There you go. I think we have covered the Vince McMahon takeover. I did find it almost ironic that Vince McMahon chose January 6th to take over the WWE. Positive direction in the WWE, but that's a whole nother situation. let's go on to what our show is about today, other than Vince McMahon and the
No
WWE.
politics, pal, but that's good shit.
Um, we're going to talk about one of my favorite pay-per-views of all time. This one is one that every time as a little slapdick that I went with my grandma to spend the night with my grandma on the weekends, and she let me go to the video store, and this one got picked a lot. And that is because it was maybe my favorite Royal Rumble of all time. And we are, of course, talking about the Royal Rumble from 1992, when I was but a wee 7-year-old slapdick. And we had a winner in that Royal Rumble by the name of Ric Flair, who became the world champion that day. There he is. As if you're watching on our YouTube, you can see that there's the Nature Boy in all his red robe glory.
And he wore the black robe that night.
That's right, he did. He wore the butterfly robe that we got a picture with there at Top Guy, or at Starcast, I believe.
I think it was Top Guy weekend, wasn't it?
Oh, was it? Yeah, I think it was Top Guy weekend.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Top Guy.
yeah. We got a picture taken with it.
So,
I still
Amy-
hadn't got to wear it.
wow. Amy, I think has some Royal Rumble 92. Is it 92 trivia or just Royal Rumble trivia?
Well, no, it's just Royal Rumble because I knew
Okay.
that if I picked 92, you all have watched it, you would know the answers. So I wanted to be a little bit more tricky. So this is just Royal Rumble match trivia. Okay.
All right.
All right. I think, and it says it has happened before that where a wrestler entered the Royal Rumble match at number 30, that in the very next Royal Rumble match in which they appeared, they were entered as number 1. To which one of the following wrestlers has this not happened? Okay. So they were 30, and then the next time they were in the Royal Rumble, they were number 1. Which one has it not happened to? Does anybody want to take a guess, or you think you're going to need the options?
We need the answers on this.
Sorry about
I'll
that.
need options. Yeah.
Need options. All right. First one is Crush.
Amy,
Second. Oh.
sorry. Did y'all hear all that interference?
Yeah, a little bit.
Oh.
I couldn't. Could you repeat the question?
Oh,
Something
yes,
happened on my
yes.
screen, and Coastal Championship Wrestling was going, and I was trying to figure out how to turn it off.
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah. I said, it has happened before that where a wrestler entering the Royal Rumble at number 30, that in the next Royal Rumble match that they're in, they enter as number 1. To which one of the following wrestlers has this not happened? So it's Crush, Rikishi, Mr. Perfect, or Ted DiBiase. Who has it not happened to?
At number 1?
You're muted, Justin.
I'm trying to think myself.
I'm going to go Crush because I can't imagine they ever threw Crush out there in the number 1 spot.
Okay.
I remember
logic on
DiBiase
that.
going number 1. I remember him going number 2.
What?
He went number 2.
Oh God.
No, it popped my wife, and she started laughing.
Oh.
And I realized what she thought.
That's funny.
Yeah, it's hilarious.
Potty humor.
All right. It was
unintentional.
actually. Oh, do y'all want to? You just want me to go ahead and tell you?
No, I'm guessing Ted DiBiase.
Was it Mr. Perfect? I'll just throw that randomly. I don't know.
It was Mr. Perfect. So Ted DiBiase entered the 1989 Royal Rumble at 30 and the 1990 Royal Rumble as 1.
Yeah.
Crush entered the 1995 Royal Rumble at 30. And he was not in the 1996, but the next one
Oh,
he
in
did.
97, he came out as Chains. See, that I call bullshit on that. They said
Aw.
Crush. They said Crush, not Chains. And
Right.
and there was a year in between the Rumbles. There's all
Well,
kinds of things going on.
But I did say the next one they appeared in. So I did say that. Now I don't know nothing about the names. I can't help that. And Rikishi entered the 2001 Royal Rumble at 30, and then the 2002 Royal Rumble at number 1.
Now you said DiBiase went 30th in 88,
89.
89.
and then he was number 1 in 90.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, then he
That's
was
what I'm
number 2
saying.
in 92, and he was only in there
Yeah.
for a minute 18. I'm
Yeah.
thinking that after having to stick around on that to go in 30th, he said, "Hey, can y'all let me in early so I can go home?"
He might have. Can't blame him for that if I'm not going to win, right? So it has happened before where the wrestler that entered the Royal Rumble match at number 1, that in the very next Royal Rumble match when they appeared, they entered as number 2. To which one of these following wrestlers has that not happened to? You have Chris Benoit, Yokozuna, the British Bulldog, and it's actually happened to all 3 of these is one of your options. So they entered 1, and then the next year they were entrance 2.
God, I know Bulldog has. I'm trying to figure out if Yoko has, and I'm gonna say all 3 of them.
I'm gonna say Yoko.
Tyler?
I'm just going to go Bulldog.
I don't think Yoko's going in early.
He did. I remember. But I can't remember if he did it back to back. That's what's screwing me up.
It was Yokozuna.
Okay, that was my first guess. I should have went with it. No, I knew he went in early though, like 1 or 2 on one of those.
Chris Benoit entered the 2004 Royal Rumble at 1, and then the 2005 at number 2. The British Bulldog entered the 1992 Royal Rumble at 1, and then did not participate.
95, wasn't it?
Yeah, the next one he participated in was number 5 or 1995, and he came in as number 2.
Yeah.
So, who became the first wrestler to enter the Royal Rumble match at number 30 2 times? Was it The Undertaker, Randy Savage, the Warlord, or Ric Flair?
I'm gonna go Warlord.
I'm going to go Randy Savage.
I'm gonna go Warlord.
It is actually The Undertaker.
Wow.
He entered number 30 on 1997 and the 2003. So he was the first one to do it.
Yeah, I would have never got that one.
Wasn't Warlord last one in 92? Yeah, he was. He was last in 92. That's why I was thinking. If I was Pat Patterson, I'd be like, put him in last at a pace. He don't let him be in the very line.
That was a great Pat Patterson, by the way. That was good.
Very impressed with your Pat Patterson, Justin. Who knew?
Who knew?
Well, Stone Cold Steve Austin, or the Ringmaster, became the first wrestler to win 3 Royal Rumble matches. It is indeed a rare sight to see someone eliminate him. However, he was eliminated from the 1996, 1999, and 2002 Royal Rumble matches by 3 of the following 4 wrestlers. Which one of these 4 did not eliminate him from the Royal Rumble? Was it Vince McMahon, Bret Hart, Fatu, or Kurt Angle?
What wrestler are we talking about getting eliminated?
Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Okay.
Which one of these wrestlers has not eliminated him?
Bret Hart.
Bret Hart. He did eliminate him, but he got back in and won. So I'm gonna go Bret Hart.
And then Bret Hart left, so he wasn't there for a lot of those years.
That's true. Yeah,
Tyler, what do you think?
I think I'm going to have to go with what they're saying, Bret Hart.
You are all correct. Bret Hart, although Bret Hart tossed Steve Austin over the top rope and both his feet touched the floor in the 1997 Royal Rumble, the referees did not see the elimination. So he got back in the ring and went on to win the 1997 Royal Rumble.
You know, that was the first time I got screwed.
And I'm going to give it to him, Brett. Brett, you did get screwed on there, buddy.
That one.
Brett didn't screw Brett on that one.
Stone Cold was eliminated in 1996 by Fatu, 1999 by Vince McMahon, and in the 2002 Royal Rumble, he was eliminated by Kurt Angle. So, which wrestler became the first wrestler to be the runner-up in more than one Royal Rumble match. So the second to last person to be eliminated, or the last person to be eliminated, and then
Twice.
that person winner. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yes. So hopefully I'm okay. Sorry.
I got
Was
you.
it Hulk Hogan, The Undertaker, The Big Show, or The Ultimate Warrior?
Hogan.
Tyler,
go-
what you think?
Yeah, I'm just gonna go out on a limb, say Warrior.
Okay. Justin?
Hogan was the last one out in 92, but he won 90 and 91. I can't think
Didn't
of
he
him.
go out? Didn't Andre get him out though?
Well, I know, but I don't know if he was the last one. Okay, I'm just gonna go with Dave. I'm gonna say Hogan too.
It was actually The Big Show.
Yeah, there we go.
So The Big Show was eliminated from the 2000 Royal Rumble by The Rock and from the 2004 Royal Rumble match by Chris Benoit. So Mick Foley competed as 3 different gimmicks in the 1998 Royal Rumble match. Since he did not win it, he was eliminated 3 times. Which one of the following wrestlers did not eliminate him? Was it Chainsaw Charlie, the artist formerly known as Goldust, Jeff Jarrett, or Farouk? So who did not eliminate a gimmick Mick Foley?
I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go Gold Dust.
I'm going Jeff
Goldust,
Jarrett.
Jeff Jarrett, Dave,
They
who'd you
said- they
say?
said
I said
Farouk.
Farouk.
All right, it was Jeff Jarrett.
Spend
check-
my days working hard.
I know. That's a great song. Hey, keep singing that, man. I know Bruce Pritchard, he'd be proud. That was I love that song. To me, that should have won a Grammy. Seriously, Road Dog. That was great.
So Chainsaw Charlie eliminated Cactus Jack. The artist formerly known as Goldust eliminated Mankind, and Farouk eliminated Dude Love. So, just so you know. What
The
did
more
the
you
fo-
know.
That's right. The more you know. What did the following 3 wrestlers have in common? Ted DiBiase, Mr. Perfect, and Diesel. Okay. First, they were the runner-up in a particular Royal Rumble match. They never made it to the ring or did not show up for a particular Royal Rumble match. They eliminated themselves, either on purpose or by accident, or they were the first person to be eliminated from a Royal Rumble match.
A.
They were the first person to be eliminated.
Okay, so Dave, you think it's D. Justin thinks it's A. Tyler, what do you think?
I'm gonna go with C.
You think they eliminated themselves by accident or on purpose?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh no way! Only man that eliminates himself every fucking time is the Macho King. Because I
See, we got Randy Savage here. It's
know.
great. Snap
like
into
we
a
have
Slim Jim.
It's like we have Bruce Pritchard with us, and he just goes
I
through
know.
the different
Episodes
voices.
in, and who knew he could do this?
Are you related to the Pritchard family? I'm starting to wonder.
That is a true story. Macho Man eliminated himself twice. He tried to elbow somebody off the turnbuckle once onto the floor. I think it was Jake Roberts that he did that with. And then he tried to pin Yoko in the Royal Rumble. Forgot you're not supposed to pin anyone. And
Hey,
so
Keith-
Yoko kicks out and just flings Macho Man over the rope on a kick out. I mean, Macho Man, you got to learn the rules, bro, before you get into these things.
No
He did
kidding.
the cream rises to the top, after this or something. That's one of my favorite promos.
Really?
Yeah, well, at the Royal Rumble, the cream ain't Macho Man because he can't figure out the rules. I know.
I was going
that.
to say, no wonder he never won, right? We never had a Royal Rumble win by Macho Man. So you are correct, Justin. They were all runners up
That's right.
in their
Sean,
matches.
I remember Sean super kicked Diesel out of the ring to win his in 95, I think, or 6, maybe 96.
It was 96. So Ted DiBiase was the Royal Rumble, or was the runner-up in 1989, which we talked about that. Mr. Perfect was a runner-up in the 1990 Royal Rumble. And then Diesel was the runner-up in the 1996
Yeah.
Royal Rumble. Like you said, he was super kicked by Shawn Michaels. All right. Now we're on to number 8. What do these following 3 wrestlers have in common? Big Boss Man, Bob Backlund, and Shawn Michaels. So either they were the first person to be eliminated from their Royal Rumble match, they were a runner-up in a Royal Rumble match, they eliminated themselves on purpose or by accident from a Royal Rumble match, or they never made it to the ring or did not show up for a particular year's Royal Rumble match. So that's Boss Man, Bob Backlund, and Shawn
I'm gonna go
Michaels.
C.
Eliminated themselves.
Yeah.
Okay.
We
I'm
pulled 'em
gonna
up,
go.
so-
Didn't make it to the ring.
Okay. D, didn't make it to the ring. What are you thinking, Tyler?
I'm just going to go with B. I'm going to go up a little bit more.
All right. Well, you should have
Dave,
gone
that was
up
my
one
second
more.
guess of
Just
yours.
one more. Okay.
You should have gone up one more because they were
Ah,
all
man.
the first persons eliminated from a particular
Huh.
Royal Rumble match. So Bob Backlund was the first wrestler to be eliminated in 1996. The Big Boss Man was the first wrestler to be eliminated in 2002. And then Shawn
That's the
Michaels.
one I didn't remember. That's why that answer didn't make sense, because I wasn't thinking of Boss Man in 02. I'm like, I know he never went out first in like the early 90s or late 80s. And that's why I couldn't compute that. I wasn't thinking about 02 Boss Man. I forgot about it.
Yeah. And then Shawn Michaels was the first wrestler eliminated in 2003. So, what do these following 3 wrestlers have in common? Ahmed Johnson, Andre the Giant, and Kane. So, again, was the runner-up in a particular Royal Rumble match, was the first person to be eliminated, never made it to the ring or did not show up, or eliminated themselves either on purpose or accident.
C.
You think it was never made it to the ring?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to go with probably eliminated themselves again. I think that seems, to be a common thing sometimes.
Okay.
I feel like Andre needs help getting eliminated. I don't think he's going over on us.
No, not Andre. Yeah, for sure.
What you think, Dave?
I'm gonna go with Justin on that one.
You think that they never made it to the ring?
Never made it.
Okay. It is they eliminated themselves.
Oh, there it is.
Man, we
I
got to do
believe-
some world class trivia next week, so I can feel good about myself.
I do think that Andre the Giant eliminated themselves when Jake the Snake brought out the boa,
He got the snake out.
and he
Yeah.
he went
That's
over the
what it
top
was.
rope.
I scare snakes. I jump over ring. I love
Kane,
it.
I'm sorry.
I've got a
Who
funny
else
snake
did that?
story
Oh,
myself.
Yoko did that too in '96 when Jake brought the snake out, and Yoko jumped right through the middle. Quickest I've ever seen Yoko.
We had a wrestler at PCW named Viper,
Mhm.
and he had a snake. This huge, huge snake, and I had to referee the match. So I go over before the match and back, and because I'm scared. I mean, it is what it is.
Right.
So I go back there, and he gets the snake out, and
What kind
Yeah.
was it? What kind of snake was it? Like a
Boa?
boa,
boa.
a python, or something like
A
that?
slippery one.
I don't blame you.
the one
I,
that-
I wouldn't want near it either.
One of them, the difference between the boa and the python, I think one of them bites and has the teeth that are arched.
Ugh.
I can't remember. I think it's python. The python's the one that. The python's the one
know.
that doesn't bite, just constricts.
No, I think
Or
that's
the
a boa
boa constrictor.
constrictor. I think they both do, don't they? In a python, that's kind of like their ammo. Is it
Screw
they-
them both. It was big ass snake.
Yes, big ass snake.
It's big
Okay.
ass snake, and I'm a little ass ref. Okay. So, I know what.
Pythons be eating whole people down there in South America.
So I'm
You gotta be careful.
Well, and they'll
So I'm
definitely
trying
be
to get
Dave.
used
He's
to
the
the
size
snake.
of a Peruvian person.
So I go up and he gets the snake out, and I get to hold the snake for a minute, and I'm trying to fight my way through it because I don't like to be that way,
Hmm.
but I'm scared of it. So anyway,
What does he
Through
do?
the
Does the
match.
snake come out with him, like on him or something?
yes,
Like
he wears it.
and so what
and
does he
then-
do when he's wrestling?
They have a Tupperware, one of those big Tupperware crates,
Like Tupperware.
Well, I mean, it's not like, I mean, it's one of them big ass 100-gallon,
Yeah. So they just put them in it.
and
And
put them
while
in and put
he's,
the lid on it.
I gotcha.
So, because that's where they travel with them like that.
Oh my gosh. Bless.
So, anyway, he does this whole thing. Matches up. The match gets to the part. He gets out, gets a snake. Snake's coming through the ropes, and my little ass is out of the ring. I mean, I'm over the ropes to the floor. I'm out.
You're doing the Margaret like in the Ray Stevens said the squirrel, it's the snake.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I
would,
couldn't get to the floor. I couldn't get to the floor quick enough.
ugh. That just
I
kinda
don't
makes me
blame you.
shiver.
I don't like snakes. Yeah.
I don't know if Andre was shoot scared of that snake or not, but I was. And I mean, I was unapologetic. If I never got booked again after that, so be it. I'm unapologetically out of here.
What was the snake's name? Did it have a name?
It did. I can't remember. The only snake name I've ever remembered was Damien, but
Yeah.
I can't
How
remember.
appropriate.
I can't remember what Viper called
Wasn't
it.
wasn't Jake's yellow snake in '96? Wasn't its name Genesis?
Was it?
He was all reborn or whatever. Jake was. I think
Oh,
I think
I
the
don't
yellow
know.
snake was
I was
Genesis.
trying to remember.
Friend of the
I think
show,
it is.
Ed Prather, can find out what independent wrestler Viper named his snake for me.
Okay. I'll see if it pops up
Where are we
on
at?
my
Number
phone.
9? Are we at number 9?
Well,
Yeah.
we answered number 9. We said
Okay,
it, they
yes, number
eliminated
9.
themselves. And basically, Kane eliminated himself when he climbed over the top rope when he saw workers from the mental institution, coming in, and he chased after them. Ahmed Johnson eliminated himself when he saw Farouk, and Andre the Giant eliminated himself when Jake the Snake got the snake out.
Yeah.
And
Damien.
referee Dave Miller eliminated himself.
So,
But no, you
Viper-
didn't because Dave went under the
we're
ropes.
not
He didn't
talking
go
about-
over it.
But we're
That's
we're not talking about the same elimination.
that's right. It's true.
Oh,
So-
they call that.
I about
think
crapped when that snake
I was
hit
gonna
the
say they
ring.
call that defecation, Dave, not elimination. All right, number 10.
Last one. Tyler's like, oh my God, hurry up.
No,
Mason."
I'm enjoying it. I'm laughing. A lot of
Crazy
one-liners and
We're chasing
great
that diaper
impersonation.
sponsorship. The Pondwater Dave show.
Have you
Sponsored
guys-
by
It depends.
Depends.
Do you guys
Depends.
remember when Jake the Snake came back to WWE on like that Raw anniversary show or the old school Raw when he came out with the snake and put it on
Dean
Was it-
Ambrose.
Dean
Yeah.
Ambrose?
Yeah.
And you can see on the video that snake crapped all over Dean's chest. There's just white stuff all
Oh.
over.
That's gross.
And so Seth goes, he tells Dean that this, or no, I think it was CM Punk told Dean that the snake crapped all over him, and then the camera cuts in on Dean's face to get it with the snake on it, and Dean's just smiling with his eyes closed because he's thinking about that snake crapping all over him.
Oh,
It's a great little YouTube clip. I saw it last week.
How do you like that cologne, huh?
Yeah, no kidding.
exactly.
Got him a Boston steamer from a snake.
And if you hear Jake the Snake's show on ad-free shows, the Snake Pit, he says that stuff stinks awful, like terrible, terrible.
I can only imagine. Yeah, and he wasn't
He
a big
said that
fan
they-
of snakes, like
said
Is
they-
there an animal that craps that it don't smell? I mean, I don't think that they've ever.
Well, I know, but I think
That's
he
not
said
normal,
that-
right?
I think he said they like secrete their crap out their skin, like,
uh-huh.
which seems really nasty to me. But all right, moving on. We got another question, I think.
Last question. So what do these following 3 wrestlers have in common? Dino Bravo, Papa Shango, or Coco Beware? Again, were they the
If you
first?
would have gave me one more O, I would have said they all got O at the end of there. Bravo, Shango,
Coco.
Coco.
Okay, besides that, they were the first person to be eliminated from the particular Royal Rumble match. They were the runner-up in a particular Royal Rumble match. They eliminated themselves either on purpose or accident, or they never made it to the ring and did not show up for the Royal Rumble match. What y'all thinking?
I'm gonna go runner up.
Give me the 3 names again.
Dino Bravo, Papa Shango, and
Yeah.
Coco Beware.
Dino, Shango, Coco. All right. Uh,
Didn't show up.
Okay, Dave, you think they didn't show up? Tyler, what you thinking?
Yeah, I'm gonna go runner up. I'm gonna go that route.
Oh, you're going runner up,
Yes,
I
ma'am.
know.
Justin?
I
Mhm.
know for a fact that Coco Beware was never runner-up in the world. There can't be, unless it was Jim Duggan or something early on. I can't remember. I'm gonna go with
And
Dave.
that's a shame. Yeah, I love Coco, and I love Frankie too. What Frankie couldn't
Frankie.
be
Yeah,
involved. Yeah.
What'd you say, Justin?
I'm gonna go with Dave.
Well, you should have gone out on your own, Justin, because they were all the first to be eliminated.
Oh yeah.
So Coco Beware was the first to be eliminated in 1990. And then Dino Bravo was the first wrestler to be eliminated in 91.
Yeah.
And then Papa Shango was the first wrestler to be eliminated in 1993. So there you go. Next week's trivia is really, I think it's going to be a good one. I'm really intrigued by it. So I hope y'all like it.
Thoughts and prayers go out to Coco, where he's having some health issues right now.
Yes, and superstar Billy Graham.
He shouldn't have said all that crap to my sister, and I legit kind of feel a certain way about him, but I don't want nothing bad to happen to him.
Yeah, definitely echo those sentiments. Praying for both those, superstar and Coco Beware.
He was acting as a heel, Dave, and he did exactly what
heels don't say that.
You don't think they say that?
No, he did definitively cross the line.
Well, okay, you're probably true. You're probably right though. But look how mad you got. No.
All right. Let's
yes.
move on to what we're talking about this week. As I alluded to earlier, Royal Rumble 1992. I kind of told you guys my feelings about this show. Opens up. I just watched it again this afternoon. I love the opening because it's one of these old school Royal Rumbles, right? Where it's Vince McMahon going, "The Barbarian." Just going through the whole list of who we got here. And I always thought that was cool. You're just getting fired up for the Royal Rumble. Then you kind of, they bring us in. Of course, we have the classic combination of Bobby the Brain Heenan and Gorilla Monsoon, who is absolutely fantastic together. Maybe their best pay-per-view together. And that's hard to say because they had a lot of great ones. This one, when Ric Flair comes out and the third, and Bobby's gone, damn it. And just they're back and forth together. The whole show I thought was fantastic.
But I want to tell you,
say, just from the first match when it opens up with Pat Tanaka, that little Japanese music that they play for those all the Japanese tag teams, it seems like.
Could you
I
do that
just
again,
love
please?
how it opens up.
Could you do that again?
Of course,
how was that music?
Yeah. So before we start talking about this, what are your guys' thoughts on the 1992 Royal Rumble?
Best one ever.
Yeah, for
Without
sure.
a doubt, but the Ric Flair entrance, with him coming through the light up entrance,
yeah,
with the W on top of it, just coming out at a brisk pace, wearing that black robe. You give me, if WWE would go back to just having that lit up entrance and get rid of all that pomp and get rid of all that magnificent holograms and all that other stuff, and just go back to simply having a door that's lit up with a curtain. I'd take that. That's my favorite WWE entrance set. And every time I think about the Royal Rumble, I see Rick coming through that curtain.
It is an iconic shot of him coming through there. And you always hear what I always remember about when Flair comes out in number 3 here, the horn goes off and you hear somebody like shaking something like a tambourine or something, like you can hear something in the background, and then he comes out and he kind of looks around and you just hear Gorilla go, "Oh, there it is, Brain." And Brain just starts flipping his crap, and it's just an iconic moment when Rick comes out. But Tyler, what are your feelings just thinking back to the 92 Royal Rumble?
Just nostalgia. classical feel. You know, Ric Flair was at his best no matter what the promotion, and it was so interesting because this is when he and Hurd had their disagreement. He brought the big gold belt, so all of it tied in here, and I just love how they built his story throughout that whole match, how he had to survive. And you said it, Bobby Heenan was worried. He was concerned, and Gorilla would tell him, would you just shut up? I love their banter together. It was just tremendous. Stop. Yeah, and he was like, hey, it's Bobby Heenan's like, that's my source. And Gorilla's like, I don't care. Get him out of here. Get security. Yeah. He's like, I mean, just stuff like that, nuances. And, Hot Rod, Roddy Piper, the promos, my goodness. I love Piper, but I still can't understand some of his promos, but I laugh every time. I mean, they were classic with Mean Gene Okerlund. I mean, just everything. I mean, from Jimmy Hart. I like the managers as much as I do the wrestlers, Mr. Fuji. And I like how managers interfered. I liked how Fuji brought the cane. I think you don't need to overdo it, but it's a lost art. I really like how managers got the heat, and, the baby faces could come back. And there was so many good moments. I know we'll break it down, but there's a lot with Flair, of course. And, like Ref Super Dave brought up, the Sid Hogan spot. That was weird. I mean, awesome. Hogan being the good guy, but
we'll get to that. But what was very weird about it is the fact that the fans seemed to cheer when Hogan got eliminated. But we'll talk about that here in a second. Dave, or Amy, I'm sorry. What about you?
Well, I think I've said it before, but the Royal Rumble is my absolute favorite pay-per-view that the WWE has, and that includes WrestleMania. Like, I just really love the whole concept of the Royal Rumble. I think that because this 92 is so iconic is because it is for the belt. And and you see that, like you said, the way Ric Flair came out, the way the different, people entered. This was not just for a shot for the, for a match. This was for the belt. And I felt like they actually took that up a notch, like that they their faces and their entrances and that kind of stuff. Like they were
I think Bobby and Gorilla sold it throughout the night.
Definitely.
Sold it. This is for the title. Roddy Piper has a chance to win the Intercontinental and the World title tonight. They were kind of selling those types of things throughout the show.
Definitely.
Let's run through real quick, just kind of the card here. We open up, as I said, with the Orient Express music, because Dave enjoyed me playing.
Can I add one more thing before you get into that?
Yeah.
We all know that I'm an NWA guy, and I did not like the WWF. I didn't like that when my favorite wrestlers would go there, they became something else. Mm-hmm. But when Ric Flair went there, so I paid attention when Tully and Arn went there, because Tully and Arn were still Tully and Arn. Mm-hmm. So I kind of paid attention. So when Ric Flair went there and the Big Gold got there before Rick did, I'm paying attention. So Ric Flair being there is why I was into this. And Rick going into early, I wasn't like, oh, man, this, I hate that he's in early because there's no way. Because Ric Flair's 60-minute man.
Yeah.
So I knew that I didn't think that he would win it, but I thought we were going to see something special with Rick. I was excited for Rick. And that's why it's you would think that there would be later in life, I would like those Royal Rumbles better. But no, this is my favorite. And it's not one that I probably, if Ric Flair wouldn't have been there, I probably wouldn't even watch this one.
Right. Yeah.
He definitely comes out with a look on his face that he's determined to win.
Yeah.
And I think that really helped, like you said, with the excitement of the whole Royal Rumble. At the end, someone was going to win a belt. And like you had Bobby that was doing all his stuff. I mean, it was great. It was all the way around great. Yes.
Well, I'm not sure that we have any 60-minute men on this show, but Ric Flair was one at the time back then. The Orient Express, as I was saying, Kato and Pat Tanaka, of course, with Mr. Fuji himself, are going to face off against the new Hart Foundation, which is a young guy named Owen Hart and Jim the Anvil Neidhart. the New Heart Foundation, of course, would go ahead and win this with the rocket launcher, which their finisher was when Owen went off the top rope for a splash, and Neidhart kind of lifted him off there. What was your guys' thoughts on the New Heart Foundation? Dave, you can start with you. You probably wasn't watching much, so you didn't have too many thoughts about it back then.
I didn't. It didn't. I mean, the new didn't hit me any kind of way. I kind of felt like, Brett. I mean, I wouldn't. To me, it was the Heart Foundation. It just didn't.
Well,
I didn't see this. I didn't see anything special about it. I'm not crapping on it. It's just.
Well,
I wasn't there for this match.
They had goofy, pajama pants on, almost like Vanilla Ice or MC Hammer pants, almost in a way, which was probably big at the time.
Definitely.
But it's also a proven wrestling law that anytime you put new in front of someone's name, they're gonna suck. So I mean, that's kind of my opinion on this.
But that's just looking. That's in hindsight. We say that. Because I never was turned off by the new Midnight Express, the new.
I was. I didn't like it then.
I mean, to me, it was just recycling something, and it didn't. I mean, it wasn't until the new Coke failure that.
that was a big failure. That lasted about 2 months, and then they're like, you know what, we screwed up, and we apologize, and just pretend like we never did that.
And actually, new Coke was better than Coke.
Well, I don't know about
I liked it.
Back in the day, Coke used to have...
also eat Flamin' Hot Cheetos on the daily, so I don't know if your palate is.
Now, his taste buds are probably burned.
Tyler, what do you think about the New Heart Foundation?
Just how much I miss Owen Hart. He was so smooth and fluid. I get it was the pajamas. It wasn't going to be like Brett and Jim the Anvil Neidhart with Jimmy Hart, but the athleticism. I talked to Dave off air about this. As much as I love Bret Hart and respect him, I think Owen was just as good as Bret. Mm-hmm. He brought his own unique way of doing things in the ring, and Neidhart still played his role very well with the power and just coming in and cleaning house. And Pat Tanaka, I mean, well-traveled wrestler and journeyman, doesn't get enough credit. And Kato, and I talked about Mr. Fuji. I love him, one of the premier ribbers from what we hear. So you definitely, that's how you got initiated, I guess, in the wrestling business. So I just love the match. I guess Owen, it's unfortunate for the other guys, but he just stood out. I mean, rocket launcher and everything.
I think in this match, they're trying to get him to be the shine, right? Obviously, you're not going to put a big shine on Neidhart. He's going to go in there and do his job. And Owen, you're going to put the shine on this match. But I think they work with a good tag team here that helps. I think this is almost like a Nitro opening match in old school WWE form. You know what I'm saying? Like,
well, you can't go wrong with Paul Diamond.
Yeah.
I mean, it was Kato.
Yeah.
And I think that kind of popped me because Kato is the sidekick for the Green Hornet. And I'm a huge Green Hornet fan. Mm-hmm. And I mean, so much so my daughter's named after the Green Hornet.
Amy,
Green Hornet's name was Britt Reed.
Oh, okay.
I named my daughter when he wasn't a boy, I went Brittany. That's a true story. I mean, so and I will say that Neidhart looked ridiculous in the puffy pants. That did stick out to me. That
what
really
they
bothered me with Owen as much as
they should have just wore Zubaz. They would have looked fine in Zubaz. They should have just wore Zubaz.
Yeah.
Exactly. I think it's always tough whenever you start off a new tag team as the new something because you're automatically drawing, you're drawing comparisons to something else. And I don't always think that's a good thing. The new Midnight Express, obviously you're going to look at what's different between this new one versus the old one and how are they better or worse. So I think
they were the new Midnight Express was the Drizzling Craps.
Definitely. But I think that.
But I was excited that they were recycling the name.
Really? I think that puts the new team at a disadvantage because they're automatically going to be looked at as what are they good or different or, how you know, and I don't
I
know if
agree.
that is always good for a new team starting off.
So we don't want to see the New Day.
New day, no. New day.
Yeah, I don't want to see that.
So, yeah, I
The
agree.
newer day, the newer day.
Although, as we're talking about the Midnight Express, I want to say, put the damn Midnight Express in the Hall of Fame, for Christ's sake.
Yeah, let's get
Get
the
it together.
petition and put Cornette in there. I don't care whether
Yes.
people don't like him or not. The guy's still one of the greatest managers and minds in the business, and I'll stand by it.
Top 3 manager of all time.
I think they
Yeah.
should get him if Disney buys it. If Disney buys him,
I wonder though
they
too.
can send him
how
down there in the
much-
Mickey Mouse costume with a
Oh,
chair.
yeah.
That's what they need to do. And they need to get a
Because he
Wendy's
sounds like foul mouth
cheeseburger.
Mickey Mouse anyway.
I think Jim Cornette would go in with the Midnight Express, but I don't really know how much interest Jim Cornette has in being a Hall of Famer. You know what I'm saying? I mean, but I definitely could see, like you said, we had the Rock and Roll Express going in, and he was able to, you know, he gave them their speech. I think I would really like to see the Midnight. I think Bobby Eaton deserves. Dennis Connery is someone who is very
Absolutely.
not.
Jim would do it for them.
Oh,
But
definitely,
if they're just putting Jim in, he'd be like, "Can I just do my speech from Louisville?" God.
Yeah, he'd
From
be
the
wanting to do it from
Castle
home. He's like, I'm
Cornette,
not going
yeah.
to Stanford. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I don't want to go there.
All right, so our third match is the great late Roddy Piper defeats the Mountie for the Intercontinental Championship through submission here with the old sleeper hold. You know, the Mountie had the title for all of what, 8 days or 6 days or something like that. Obviously a transitional champion. I think the reason why they kind of rip it off Brett kind of quick and say he was sick and lost is because he was having a contractual, I think his contract
Talking
ran.
to WCW.
He was talking to
Rumor.
WCW here in the summer or in the January of 1992. And so they went ahead and took the belt off him, put it on the Mountie for a few days, and now put it back on Piper. 5-minute match, not a lot to it, kind of what you would expect. Piper goes over pretty relatively easily. And then my favorite part of this match is at the end when Piper gets the shock stick and he shocks the Mountie, and the music, the shocking noise goes over the whole sound system. Like I love that.
Yeah, I was
I
laughing.
miss the sleeper as a finisher.
Yes.
And when they do choke somebody out now, I hate that. The best part of the sleeper was when the referee would make them wake them up.
Yes, that
And
was
they had
the
to
best.
get there and they'd rub on the back of their neck and then pop them one time to get them awake. You
Yeah,
could
I
put them out
agree.
with a sleeper, but you had to wake them up.
Definitely. That was really, I love that. And then they come to, they didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
That was great. I'm with you. I miss the sleeper as being a finish, you know, and like you said, the hand going down, and then, you know, like you said, you had to rub their back and you had to hit them somewhere in the back. Oh, that was great.
One interesting thing about this match is this is Roddy Piper's one and only up to this point. He does win the tag team titles, I think, with Ric Flair in the 2000s, but this was his only singles title ever, is this Intercontinental run here that he gets, and then he will eventually lose that back to Brett at WrestleMania 8. Yes, WrestleMania 8. So, and that is a classic match coming up
Did
here.
you all
in a few months.
see, I'm sorry, I just was going to say real quick that Roddy Piper's daughter, Teal Piper, was on AEW Dark.
Yeah.
And
I
so,
saw it.
she has a wrestler. She has been doing some wrestling, but now she's, like I said, as was on AEW Dark. So I wish good things for her. I think that would be that could be awesome. So we'll just have to see.
Our fourth match, the Beverly Brothers, that would be Bo and Blake, as we all know. Defeated the Bushwhackers. The Beverly Brothers were with the Genius. The Bushwhackers, of course, with Jameson, who got some licks in at the end of the match after the Bushwhackers were defeated. This is just obviously a let me up comic relief match, not much to say about it. Although
Hated it.
I hated it, and here's why. The Mountie and Roddy Piper got 5 minutes. The Bushwhackers and Beverly Brothers got 15 freaking minutes, bro. 3 times as long as your Intercontinental title match.
Well, I remembered the Beverly Brothers from the AWA. So I wasn't buying into the Beverly Brothers gimmick. And also the Bushwhackers were the sheep herders.
Mm-hmm.
And I wasn't having any of that silliness. So I just remember this was a piss break for me, because I was triggered that where this is more of the WWF just screwing up a good thing, because the sheep herders were vicious.
Yeah.
I mean, I saw the sheep herders in a barbed wire rope match. When I don't mean like a rope that they were tying to, the ropes were covered in barbed wire against the Fantastics, and they were all bloody messes. The sheep herders were vicious. When I first got cable, they were on Southwest Championship Wrestling, and I hated their guts. They were evil, vicious men, and now they're licking kids.
That to me, of course, back, you're thinking it's in the 90s, but I mean, you're right. They are literally licking, or parents are letting adults of unknown,
I
It
can't
was a
believe you
different
wouldn't
time.
let Luke and
It was a
Butch
different
Reed
time,
get
I
there,
mean.
and how dare you?
I know. I just, that people are licking each other, and I just, oh my Lord, that was
Aaron
just,
will take a licking and keep on kicking. He don't care.
Barbara Mandrell kissed me in 1980, and
Oh Lord.
I mean, it'd been on. I mean,
Hey, but it's proven that Barbara Mandrell likes younger men. She dated Jim Carrey in the late 80s. So I'm just
is she
saying.
really
Yes,
how
she
old were
did.
you in 1980, Dave?
14?
Okay.
Actually, I'm gonna say it was 1980. No, it was 1980. It was March 31st, 1980 is right before it's either
Were you
80
at
or
her
81.
Were you at her concert? What were you doing?
Yeah. It's at a concert, and I was down front, and I was wearing a cowboy hat, and she asked if she could borrow my hat while she sang Willie Nelson songs.
Uh-huh.
So she wore my hat, and then when she gave me my hat back, she kissed me on the cheek.
Then she
Aw.
borrowed his innocence too.
Well, I need to start wearing a cowboy hat. There you go.
At all your front row events, Tyler, wear a cowboy hat.
Yeah,
See what
well, and
happens.
I may be scared. I may be inviting some people I don't want. It's
That's
going to be a
right.
Bobby Heenan moment.
Barbara
That's true.
Mandrell can get it.
Well, our fourth, she can't anymore, but she could have, I think, is your point. The natural disasters are our fourth match. Earthquake and Typhoon with Jimmy Hart. They defeated the Legion of Doom. They defeated them by count out or disqualification or something. So
Pause.
yeah, it's a schmoz. So the Legion of Doom retain the championships by count out. They would keep them, I think, all the way until SummerSlam of '92. I think that's when they lost them, and then we never saw Hawk again for 4 years. They just stayed over there in London or
And
wherever.
they look so good. I mean,
Yeah,
the
they
Legion of
did.
Doom with the
crowd
shoulder
was
pads
into
and
it.
that classic tag team belt on them.
Yes.
Oh, they were awesome.
Yeah. I love their music in WWE. That just that is a badass song. I've always thought their theme music in WWE is really solid. They just look.
They should have licensed Iron Man for them though.
Yeah, I know, but if you're gonna do something, Jim Johnson,
I
thing,
get it. I get it. But
I mean, that to me, what he did was like perfect for them as a new song, and it's an original. And I just think it fits the tag team perfect. It starts off with that it's really cool beginning. But yep, they just are badasses here in early '92, and I wish they could have stayed on, through '93 and '94, and we could have saw some Legion of Doom and Steiner matches maybe in '93 and stuff like that. I think that would have been cool.
Yeah, a lot of the dream matches. I'm with you in agreement. I mean, think about the Sounders and LOD in a feud, a rivalry, and in the WWF, not just NWA or
Right.
WCW. But I have to agree with Dave. I like the Iron Man. Now Jim Johnson is a genius, but man, there was something about Ozzy. Hearing that Black Sabbath when they came out with Paul Ellery, that
Mhm.
Road Warrior pop that gave you those goosebumps. So,
They
but
hit
you
the
still got to
curtain
hear.
and destroy whoever was in the ring.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're right.
Luckily, this is right before they started bringing a wooden puppet to the ring, and we'll just forget about that. Then we have our last match, which is the Royal Rumble. And this just feels, if you look at the lineup of this Royal Rumble, it is golden era classic names. I mean, we start off, with the British Bulldogs music, which is always kind of a peppy way to start something off. Then we get, of course, the $1 Million Man. Ric Flair comes in third. Jerry Saggs of the Nasty Boys fourth. Haku, Shawn Michaels, Tito, the Barbarian, Kerry Von Erich, the Texas Tornado, the Repo Man, the Hammer, Greg Valentine, Nikolai Volkov, Big Boss Man, Hercules, Roddy Piper, Jake Roberts, Jim Duggan, Erwin R. Schleister, Jimmy Snuka, The Undertaker, Randy Savage, the Berserker, Virgil, Colonel Mustafa, also known as the Iron Sheik, Rick Martel, Hulk Hogan, Skinner, Sergeant Slaughter, Sid Justice, and the Warlord. And as I'm adding these up, there's a lot of WWE World Champions in this Royal Rumble. I
Yeah,
mean,
Just
just
there's a
think
champions
lot.
involved. If you look, if
Let's
you want to
just go
look
world
beyond,
champions. Let's just
yeah,
talk world champions.
yeah.
Okay, you got Kerry Von Erich. Well, let me go back to the beginning. Okay, you got Ric Flair. Well, Ted DiBiase's technically world champion.
yeah. If you just count WWE World Champions, though, it's still a high number. You
Oh
have
yeah,
Ric Flair, you have Shawn Michaels, you have
Randy Savage,
Randy Savage, The Undertaker,
Yeah,
uh,
Hulk Hogan.
the
Hulk
Iron Sheik.
Hogan, Sergeant Slaughter, Sid Justice, the Iron Sheik. So there's 9 that are in there.
Then you
So
count
yeah,
Rick Martel as AWA, and
AWA.
That's
Kerry Von
true.
Erich as
Exactly.
NWA and world class.
Now, did Snuka hold a NWA World Title or WWF at one point?
Uh,
I can't
No.
remember. Oh, he did.
Did
so
he ever do a
anyway,
WWF?
Not as a
Was
champion.
he was all tag teams?
so just some of the spots in this match. Of course, we know the Bulldog comes out with DiBiase. He gets rid of DiBiase. Flair comes out, and Flair kind of clears the ring at one point, and that is when the 15th person comes in. Flair is all alone, taking his break in the ring because he's been in there for so long. As we said, Bobby's flipping his wig because Flair came in third, you know. So now we're at 15, and Flair's just taking it easy, and then the bagpipes hit. And Bobby says, "Oh no, of all people, we don't want to see," and Piper just comes in and just starts hitting the hell out of the Nature Boy, and he's just selling, and that the hair's flopping. And it's just a great spot right in the middle of the Royal Rumble to kind of, they kind of build it at the beginning, let it settle down in the middle, and now a little build spot right in the middle with Flair and the Nature, or Flair and Piper there. And then we have Jake Roberts come in, and the 3 of them are a fun spot. And then, kind of goes on to the end. And I want to talk about the ending because I love the ending of this Royal Rumble. At the end, we have Sid Justice. The final 4 would be Hulk Hogan, I believe, Sid Justice, and who was at least the final 3. It was Sid, Flair, and Hogan was the final 3. And Hogan goes out because Sid puts him out, and that makes Hogan mad because Sid's supposed to be a face. They're supposed to be going after Flair, right? So Hogan, like he always does, he's the biggest heel baby face that I've ever known. Whenever things don't go his way, he cheats. And this is what he does here at the end of the 1992 Royal Rumble. He gets eliminated fair and square. What does he do? Cries, turns around and grabs Sid's arm from the floor to where now the Nature Boy can dump Sid over and win the world title. So once again, sore loser Hogan. We will see a repeat of this in WrestleMania 9 when he has to come in and win the world title in 5 seconds and showboat over Brett. But, you know, crybaby Hogan can't not win. You know, what if this would have been done to him, he would have said, you know something, brother, that cheating Ric Flair trying to pull me out of the ring. And then when he does it, it's perfectly fine.
Look at his moveset. Closed fist. He always he do the scratch on their backs.
Yeah.
Hogan wrestled. I mean, he didn't ever change.
He wrestled as a heel. He did.
No, he did.
I mean, and it was just so funny because a lot of things, like I say, whenever things aren't going his way, he'll resort to cheating. It's okay if Hogan does it, but if anyone else does it, it's that low dog dirty lion, you know, son of brother.
I was going to take
it's
my
all
vitamins. Yeah, I'm saying my prayers, even though he did the heel move. I was still pulling for him. I'm like, yes, do it.
good.
And see, I didn't. I never pulled for him.
Yeah.
I mean, I just didn't. I mean, I'm not gonna say I never pulled for him. Depends on who he was in there with. But when Ric Flair got there,
No, I wasn't. I was rooting for the Nature Boy too.
and hey, and I rooted for Andre when Andre was against him.
Yeah.
So, Dave, did you see Hulk Hogan in AWA before he went to WWF? Did you have any inkling of him then to kind of get an opinion of him?
Just from the magazines, we didn't get the AWA programming then. I was aware of him through the magazines. I mean, I became aware of him because of Rocky, because of Thunder Lips,
right?
And then then his ascent. He won the IWGP, the first IWGP championship tournament, and the storyline on winning the IWGP was that the winner of that tournament was going to get a world title shot in all 3 organizations. So he challenged Harley Race for the NWA title. He challenged Bockwinkel for the AWA title. And then when he went to the WWE, even though that was never WWF, it was never played up that way. He was entitled to a WWF championship match as a result of winning the IWGP tournament.
Interesting.
And I remember that was a huge deal in the magazines. I don't Pro Wrestling This Week may not have been a thing at this time with Joe Pedicino and Bonnie Blackstone. I remember so much about him winning that tournament. And then it was the magazines because they did the feature with him and Race.
Sure.
And, but now you know that, I mean, he actually won the AWA championship and they took it away from him.
Right.
Vern didn't let that go down, and things could have been so much different. I mean, I was watching on USA the Madison Square Garden show when Hogan beat the Iron Sheik. Because we'd get once a month, we'd get the Madison Square Garden show because it was on the USA network. The USA was the Madison Square Garden network. And they would have, they'd have matches like, the last match would be One Fall or Curfew, which was always fun. It was a different presentation than what
That
we
sounds
were
like me and my
accustomed to.
parents when I was in high school and Friday night. One Fall or Curfew. I'll fight it out right now.
Oh, I could say something about that. But I could get my one fall in before curfew. Anyway, that was my awareness of Hulk Hogan, and I was a Hulk Hogan fan. I liked Hulk Hogan. Then I later found out that he was a villain. Had his chest hair shaved like a mushroom cloud.
Wow, are you not supposed to do that? Checking notes.
Hey, you do yours that way this week, and I'll do mine. We'll see which one of us can do a better mushroom cloud.
Yeah, we want the pictures. Come on, Let's do it.
We
Uh,
got to get you to watch our YouTube. We
Is
want
it bad to have
really
gray
push the video
mushrooms? Because I
version.
think that's what I got in there.
But no, Hulk Hogan. Until the cartoon stuff started, I was on board. I liked
Mhm.
Hulk Hogan. I remember the first time I saw Hulk Hogan. The WWF had come to Dallas and they drew piss poor. I mean, we're talking hundreds of fans, not thousands.
Really?
They came in and World Class ran against them
Mm.
and successfully ran against them because there wasn't hardly anybody that at the State Fair Coliseum in Dallas. And but it was Hulk Hogan and the Iron Sheik. And I mean, the electricity in a small crowd. Hulk Hogan had something. I mean,
So you went to that show instead of your WCCW?
yeah, I'd been to WCCW plenty of times.
Oh,
I was
okay.
curious. I was curious to see, and I even thought that their show, their presentation was actually better than what World Class was doing. Not so much as what talent in the ring.
Mm-hmm.
It was at World Class, you'd go to the matches and you'd have a match, and then there'd be like 10 minutes before the next match came out.
Right.
And WWE, they'd
Right.
leave. Here's the next match in the ring. Short intermission, back, bam, bam. I mean, that having your matches there wasn't a whole bunch, but I mean, you go to the sportatorium and I mean, you wait. There'd be a noticeable. They weren't bringing those matches out
Mm-hmm.
one right after the other.
Did they
They were
have
thinking-
I was just gonna say, did they have about the same number of matches? Like when you watch the WWF show,
Yeah.
it
I
was
mean,
they both had about the same amount of matches, but
six or seven
or seven.
matches. I can get into my old programs. I've got some old WWF programs. I think they might have had no more than 8 matches,
mm-hmm.
but I want to say 6. World Class was good about having 6 or 7.
So it was a difference between 2 hours and 3.5, no, something
But-
like that, probably.
But
All right.
every time, but even not being a Hogan fan, even the years I didn't care much for him, that seeing Hulk Hogan is big damn deal.
It's an attraction. Yeah, it's a big
Yeah,
old
he
dude.
is.
So I just wanted to wrap up Royal Rumble 92 here for us real quick. So of course we know Flair wins the World Championship for the first time, where he will win the first of his 2 WWE championships. He cuts one of the most famous promos of all time after his win, back there with Mean Gene, where Mean Gene famously tells Pat to put a cigarette out. And
That's the greatest.
and Flair with a tear in my eye. And just
This
one of the
is,
great
without a
promos.
doubt,
Mhm.
the greatest day of my life.
Yeah. This sets up, of course, the feud with Sid and Hogan will set up a co-main event at WrestleMania 8, where we will see Hulk Hogan defeat Psycho Sid, and in a fantastic underrated match, in my opinion, Randy Savage defeats Ric Flair for the World Championship at WrestleMania 8. We also see, as I alluded to earlier, Brett beat Piper for the Intercontinental title. I really think WrestleMania 8, it gets low-key slept on as a great WrestleMania. But maybe that's because I was 8 at WrestleMania 8. I'm literally the age of WrestleMania, I guess. So I just turned 38 last, so I guess it's time for WrestleMania 38 coming up.
Exactly. That's a really good way to help us keep up with it. It's like, okay, Justin is 38, and so we're on number 38. Okay, that sounds good.
Yeah, my birthday's synonymous with the original Batman TV show and Star Trek.
I thought you were going to say Super Bowl.
Yeah, I thought he was going to
Super
say
Bowl.
Lincoln getting shot, but
Well,
Oh,
that one too. The Industrial Revolution. When that started,
I did bring a show and tell today, Dave,
Oh, good.
because for my birthday, I was given, I have this big 60-something collection of Hasbros here.
Mhm.
This is not a Hasbro, but I did get the purple Razor Ramon Hasbro. But
Oh,
this one is the Ric Flair WCW, one of those. I forget who made those. Do you remember, Dave? The WCW ones?
Galoob?
Huh?
Was it Galoob?
I think so. Yep, I think that is correct. And it has the belt here with it. So yeah,
Oh,
I thought
that's
that was
cool, man.
Yeah, that is awesome.
I need one of those. I mean, I've got a lot of Ric Flair action figures,
I
but
was
I'll have
wondering
that
if
one.
you had this one. I remember my babysitter had this one when I was a kid. I used to play with it.
My WCW Ric Flair one is the one that you can push the button on his back and it makes his arms go like this.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
I like it.
How cool.
That is
So,
That
cool,
is cool.
Justin.
yeah,
Who got that for you?
that is Tyler. Got me that. Got me
Oh,
the purple Razor Ramon. So, and I haven't seen it yet, but it's supposedly coming in the mail. I am getting a Queen record that is signed by every member of Queen, including Freddie Mercury.
oh, did Tyler
I'm
get that for
super
you?
pumped. I'm super pumped for that.
Nice.
That is gonna be
Man,
cool.
I can't wait till you send me a picture of it so I can show my
Yeah.
daughter.
I'll put that on the
It
show
looks-
and tell here on the show as soon as it comes in. I know we're a wrestling show, but we can throw that in there.
Well, we call it show and tell, and we spell tell Tale instead of Tell because sometimes when we show something, there's a story that goes with it.
Hmm.
So my contribution for show and tell tonight is the WWE Women's Tag Team Championship, currently held by Damage Control, Dakota Kai, and Io Sky. And the reason is that I want to show this and talk about it is I had the opportunity to take my grandkids to the WWE live event in Jackson, Mississippi Saturday night. And they defended the tag titles against oh, it doesn't matter because that doesn't have anything to do with it, but they won. I mean, wow, this is gonna bother me now. Liv Morgan and man.
Raquel,
No. She's
no.
from NXT. I think they just brought her up.
Liv Morgan and her tag team partner.
Is it Tegan Knox?
Tegan Knox. Thank
There
you.
we go.
But I don't care about Dakota Kai or Io Sky that much. But the match was over. They cheated. They won. Io Sky, we're on the second row. That's important to the story. And there's a little boy sitting in front of us who is obviously special needs. He might have leukemia. I don't know. His head, he was bald.
Mm-hmm.
Bald and special needs. With the biggest smile. The biggest smile. This kid's having the time of his life. And I'm enjoying watching him as much as I'm enjoying watching my grandkids. So anyway, Io Sky gets her belt and she rolls out of the ring and she backs up and she's got her back on the guardrail right in front of us.
Mm-hmm.
And, she's cutting, her dirty looks, but she's got her belt and she's hugging it. You know how they do. And this little boy reaches up and he kind of touches her hand that's holding the belt. And as a heel will do, she jerked away.
Mm-hmm.
And when she jerked away, she turned to look and shot that little boy an ugly look.
Mm-hmm.
And she did. And then it hit her. And then she just for a second, walked. And then she turned around and she walked back over to him. And she put the belt on his shoulder and her arm around him and turned and was posing to let him as many pictures as his dad wanted to take of him.
Mm-hmm.
And I looked at her and she looked at me and I could see the tears in her eyes. So I knew that it touched her,
Mm-hmm.
but she genuinely felt bad that she did that to that little boy. But I mean, she needs to be that way. She's a heel. But she quickly corrected and gave him all the time in the world. And I mean,
Yeah.
I looked at her and I had tears in my eyes watching her with that little boy. And it don't matter who buys the company. That's what it's all about. It don't matter who owns it. If Disney owns it, well, that's expected. If Saudi Arabia owns it, they don't change anything. That kid don't care who owns WWE.
That's correct.
And I'm not just going to Io Sky. No, I'm not going to stop with Io Sky. Braun Strowman. Braun Strowman was around the ring. He was taking selfies. I mean, he was taking the kids' cameras and he'd do the selfie with them. I've got a picture that I posted on social media at Ref Super Dave PWD. I posted both pictures because when Braun Strowman, my granddaughter had her phone and her and her brother and Braun Strowman were taking a selfie. I took a picture of my granddaughter doing the selfie. It's what Papa saw. It's what the kids saw. And I tweeted it and I actually tagged I tagged Braun Strowman in it and he liked it. So and humble brag, and this never Lex Luger liked it too. And Road Dogg did too, but
Well, I saw where you were down at the show there last week with your grandkids, and they're close to the ring, and that is what wrestling is all about, you know. And I was glad that you had fun and they had fun, and I'm glad we had fun.
The Brawling Brutes gave everybody as much time as they wanted. Candice LeRae did, and Bobby Lashley. Bobby Lashley, I can't say enough good about Bobby Lashley. And we'll tie it back into the Royal Rumble. I went to the Royal Rumble in San Antonio, Texas, the year that Umaga and Cena wrestled and the ropes broke. Bobby Lashley was the ECW champion, second match of the night. And I was on the front row. And that's the chair I showed on the other night when we were talking about Royal Rumble. I was on the front row. The little boy next to me had a sign that today is my birthday. He got to sit on the front row for his birthday.
Oh,
Lashley finished his match, and while he was selling, and there was something going on in the ring, he sold over to the barricade and gave that kid a hug for his birthday. So I've always had that meant a lot to me. I don't even know the kid. But Bobby Lashley going out of his way to do that on a pay-per-view, following his match. Well, he got through with his match that was against Baron Corbin. Baron Corbin said he didn't have anybody to wrestle. Bobby Lashley came in. And Bobby Lashley came out, and Corbin said, but Lashley's suspended. He can't wrestle. And he was leaving, and Adam Pearce came out and told him to get back in the ring. No. That was later. That was later when Adam Pearce came out. The referee was getting it in his ear that the suspension was lifted for the night. But anyway, Lashley wins, and this wasn't during intermission. Genuinely spent 10 minutes going around ringside, signing autographs and taking pictures. He spent a great deal of time it wasn't rushed at all. And, you know, we'll talk about the bad with WWE. We'll talk about the good with WWE. But go to live events. Don't judge WWE as the television property they are.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Because TV sucks.
Yeah, go out there and experience
TV matches suck.
It's just like
NASCAR. You're only gonna have a few minutes.
You know, Dave, it's just like NASCAR. Everyone says, you know, I can't watch cars go around on TV. But then when they go to a live NASCAR race, they're like, man, that was fun. Same way with hockey.
Yeah, but then that also translates to TV, because after you go to the race and you experience it, you understand it on television.
Yeah.
And I would go even one step further, Dave. Definitely go to a live event, but I have more fun at house shows than I do, necessarily going to a Raw or something like that, because exactly what you were saying. We took Aaron when he turned 8, he got tickets to a house show in Cape Girardeau, and we were on the aisle. And just like you said, Aaron had a sign that says, I'm here for my birthday. Will you please sign? And every one of the baby faces signed his, poster board. And exactly like you said, they all took time. They came over there, they noticed, they talked to them. It just, there's so much more interaction. They're so much looser because they don't have time constraints and they're not being, videotaped. And I mean, we really got to get some good interaction. And Aaron, like I said, he really, really enjoyed that. And so I think those are good things. And I understand why they don't do that as much, cost wise and stuff. But I just think that is such a great way to see, up close and really get to see the wrestlers and get to, interact with them. I think that's a wonderful way.
You'll even come away from it like, why can that wrestler be like this in person but not on television?
Mm-hmm.
Like Eric Rowan used to steal the show
Mm-hmm.
at a house show, and they did nothing with him on television. So anyway, that's my old man rant for tonight. And shout out to Ego Sky though, because you might be just one of them evil bad guys, but I'll never look at her the same again because I saw that's a genuinely good human being.
Well,
genuinely good human being.
If you are listening to this show, that means you are genuinely a good human being, and we really appreciate it. I would also like to say I want to thank from wrestlingbuddy.com, right, Tyler Peters? You want to plug anything for yourself over there before we get up out of here?
Yeah, sure. WrestleBuddy.com and this show. Thank you all for having me. I love hearing those kind of stories and hearing your guys' perspective. I've been a big fan before coming on this episode. I've been watching this show and I love it. I'm a fan myself of this program, and I'm going to plug you all. I mean, I think I could do the Jericho's list, and I'm not doing that to brag for podcasts and everything. And enough about me. I love being on here talking Rumble 92 and getting those kind of stories that mean something. And what Amy was echoing and the figures. I mean, this is our childhood into adulthood, and it's amazing. Yeah, exactly. Arn Anderson. And I mean, and a lot of us have a
mind to wrestle yours over the camera right now.
There you go.
Let's go.
Justin's wins.
Okay. I don't know. Me and Arnold talk that over. I don't know about that.
I can't wait. I'm going to go in there and tell Stephanie what he got for his birthday. Mine's in April. She's going to have to step her game up this year.
Amy, we'll have our toys called. We'll just have our toys called in the ring. It'll be fun. Go ahead.
Okay. I was going to say, Tyler, you need to brag on yourself because you are doing commentary for CCW. You need to talk about that. Don't just brag on us, brag on yourself.
Well, yeah, I mean, what an opportunity. We talked about like Gorilla Monsoon, Bobby Heenan. I think I discussed with y'all. I mean, Gordon Soley. I had to go back and research because I got to admit, I didn't grow up in that golden era too of the NWA like Ref Dave was talking about. But, even those personnel, Bob Cottle, Lance Russell in Memphis, being in Tennessee, and, everybody, that was an influence for me. So to get to do it and at least learn the process, I'm not going to say I'm a pro by any means. I'm still comprehending the art of it. Getting these stories over, it's not just moves. I mean, you're really not only getting the characters over, you've got to relay that information, those details. And that's been a dream come true. Thanks to CCW, Coastal Championship Wrestling. They're based out of Coral Springs, Florida. Kevin Sullivan's down there. I got to do commentary. The Taskmaster sit beside me, and I'm like, I'm just going to shut up and listen. And I would do my part because he's like, hey, awesome. just go ahead and do what you need to.
But
and
Tyler,
you talk
I would
about
say,
anxiety. And,
we talked about Marlene getting possessed. I would say, don't sit too close to the devil. You might.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Yeah, I may get possessed by the devil. Exactly. I thought he was going to put a spell on me, and I was shaking, man, because here's Kevin Sullivan. He was with the Grahams. He was well traveled. A lot of WCW success. I mean, Bischoff can tell you about that. I mean, here's a guy that's a genius. Gangrel's down there from the Attitude Era. Okay. Great wrestler, great guy. Yeah. I mean, they've had so many people. Camille from NWA, Colleen King, a lot of great indie wrestlers. They're doing some tremendous things like a lot of the independent promotions.
And
Awesome.
there's a school too, right? There's a wrestling school attached to it.
Yes, there is. There's a CCW training facility. I believe it's located in Pompano Beach, nearby Coral Springs, and they're running in Kissimmee, near Orlando. They're all over Florida and Nashville. That's how come I got the opportunity. So I just feel very blessed. Glory to God and people that have been supportive of me because I don't deserve it. But I'm happy to learn from those who are better. I mean, that's how we all improve. And, there's so many, I would need that list again that I've absorbed the knowledge. And I love getting back. Now I've got more of an appreciation, not just for ring announcing, but commentary like hearing Jim Ross. How do you get all these notes? You got to pitch everything. Oh, this is so-and-so's wrestling tonight. That's the event. Now it's clicking when I have to do it. And there's a lot of errors. There's a lot of blooper reels where I'll say a word and, when you're a Southern guy, some words come out different and people go, well, just act like you were JR. You meant to say it like that. I'm like, yeah, that works, but it's in the back of my mind. It's like, what can I do better? What kind of mistakes can I correct? And I'm learning that more and more. So I'm a fan like so many. I got to be careful. I don't mark out on commentary either, but I love doing it. And, I try to take it seriously and everything. And for a guy that's not a tall guy, not an athlete, I've told Super Dave and, Amy this too, Justin, I needed to be in the broadcast booth because, I couldn't be the wrestler. So I've got a lot of respect. You appreciate what they have to do, what referees, everybody, it's a team effort. It really is. And they're sacrificing so much, even on the indie scene. So it's gave me a lot of insight to their lives. So I just thank you all for the platform. And I know they'll appreciate it talking about CCW, and they call themselves the last territory because, they're one of the last in the Southeast. And I thought that was great marketing, great way to promote it. And, you think about Florida wrestling, going back to the Grahams, Briscoe, Dusty Rhodes, a lot of the great NWA people. Lex Luger got his start there. I just love the history too, because I'm a history buff. So any wrestling history, that's why I love all the podcasts like yours, Conrad. I'm just such a fan, man, myself.
Well, I'm a fan of having you on here with us, Tyler. We really appreciate it.
Well,
You.
I appreciate it. It was.
It's always fun to talk about the Royal Rumble 92. I can always talk about that all day long. And it was a fun show having you on. I'm glad I'm back. I'm sorry I missed last week. I got hit with the Coco V on my B day, which was no fun, but oh well. I felt like I had a Michael Jordan flu game. I didn't know I had Coco V, and I went to referee a varsity basketball game, and about 15 minutes before the game starts, I just start pouring sweat off of me. Just my hair is drenched and couldn't wait to get off the court. I was having trouble catching my breath, and then the away team throws a corner three in at the buzzer, and we go to overtime. And I'm like, oh, it's never going to end. I got home and I had 102.6 temp, and so by the time it was time to record last week, I was out of commission. So thank you, Andrew Hermes, for stepping in. I'm sorry, for stepping in and filling in for me last week.
I say it Hermes. Am I saying
Is
it
it?
wrong?
I don't know.
He never corrects me.
You know what I try to do? I try to say it both ways in case I get it wrong either time. Because I know he'll rip my head off if I don't get it right. Thank you guys for listening to the 10th episode of the Pondwater Dave Show. We had a lot of fun here today. Amy and Dave, you have anything before we jump off here?
I'd like to plug I'm talking about the
After Mag Chats?
No. I'm trying to
I'd like to plug that. Check out the After Mag Chats with Pondwater Dave and Bill Apter every other Monday on ad-free shows. I forgot to plug that earlier, so I'm going to get that cheap plug in.
But no, I want to my referee gig on Saturday, January 21st. Bayou Independent Wrestling presents Force of Will in Fountain Hill, Arkansas, and we're going to have the ladies are going to be there. Emmy Camacho and Cassandra Golden. They're really good. Bayou Independent Wrestling is going to crown their first women's champion in March. So we're putting a focus on women this year. Tag team champions are going to be there. Cassidy Riley and Bam Bam Malone. King Rob Love will be there, and the main event will be Tim Storm challenging the Southern title, our heavyweight champion Angel Camacho. And those two guys, when they collide, it may register on the Richter scale.
And when can they work? What is the date of this show?
Saturday, January 21st at the JYM Center in Fountain Hill, Arkansas, which is really close to Louisiana in Arkansas.
Okay. So if you're in the Louisiana, Arkansas area there on
Mississippi, if you're in the Arklamis, you could
go check out Dave.
not too
He's
far
gonna
to
be
drive.
working.
Come see us.
Yeah.
That's right. Did you say one of the women are they related to Angel? Did you say that their last name was the
Emmy
same?
Camacho. Emmy Camacho's in the Camacho clan. Yes.
Okay, cool.
And you guys can, of course, find us on Twitter at the PWD Pod. You can find me at JD2040 over there on the Twitter gimmick. Amy, where are you at over there?
I am at AmyRD_24. I am the first lady of the Arn Anderson fan club.
That's right. And then, of course, we have Ref Super Dave at Ref Super Dave PWD. And I would like to just personally thank everyone for listening. And we will see you all next week. Thank you, Tyler Peters, for joining us. And
you're welcome.
Today, beat those rat birds on Sunday. Peace and love, everyone. We'll see you next week.
Bye.